Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
Hey coaches, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops. Before we jump in today, I just want to make sure you know what's going on. Coach Bill and I, over the last couple months, have been running an on-demand coaches clinic. We're going to just kind of pull the curtain back, let you kind of hear a little bit of what's inside of those as far as handouts and videos and all that stuff. If you want to see what's available, go over to basketballcoachesclinic.com and check it out. Let's head off to the podcast.
Now, the other thing to your point was, and stop me at any time, I know I'm rambling here talking about all this stuff, I get pretty jazzed about it, is when it comes to learning, right? If I just tell you to do something, you'll retain about 5%, right? And then, if I show you and tell you, you'll I think it goes to 20%. And then, but if I show you, or I tell you, show you a picture of it, again, it goes to 30%, etc. So it's this pyramid of how the kids can learn up to the point where they're teaching. And when they teach, it's 90% retention rate. If you do, show, tell, demo, right? They actually do the thing on the court. And then, I do this a lot on our inbound plays. Even, I shouldn't say that, all plays. I'm like, okay, we've been running this. Or let's say, for example, I have a new person joining our team. Hey, Addison, can you show, Jennifer how to run, our inbound play? So she goes and shows her how to run the inbound play. Sometimes I give them, I handpick who can show because I know she knows it. Right. So you don't confuse you forgot that one screen. Yeah. So I sometimes I get feedback on that. Well, you can't have, okay. You handpick the person you want to show. Right. Now, you can keep it even simpler than that with your team. You could say, hey, Johnny, can you show us I really liked your stance, your defensive stance and your shuffle. Can you show us how you do that? He gets down and he does his shuffle, right? I did this last night. Right. We're doing this new thing coming off of a screen where it's hard to explain over audio here, but you're basically, you're waiting. If you're being screened from your teammate, you're kind of doing a hop before you take off, because what that does, that gets the defense nervous. The defense gets nervous. They don't know if you're going to back cut, you're going to come off of that screen. So they're kind of hopping themselves in limbo, like, which way is she going to go? And then depending on what you see, boom, you take off and you can take off of that screen and go. So versus just waiting for the screen, you're sitting there and you only go one direction. Anyway, so this player of mine, she did an awesome job of this hopping on the screen. So I stopped practice and I said, Mackenzie, can you show us how you did that? That was executed perfectly. All right. So then she goes and shows us how she did it. I'm like, 2 claps for Mackenzie, right? And then we get back into practice. Done. 30 seconds.
And then now Mackenzie is an expert at this hopping thing in her own mind.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So she saw it. She did it. She demoed it. She taught the other people how to do it. I bet every time now, we have a game this weekend, I'll let you know, she'll do it in a game, right? Yeah. She knows, it's like, hey, I'm the expert on the hop, right? Yeah.
Right.
Just,
I like that.
And again, if you can encourage and inspire, and I know what you mean, and when you said, hey, I'd like to get a few more wins, or the kids don't, maybe the wins isn't their motivation.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe they feel like, well, we're not that good, so we're not going to win anyway. So flip the outcome. And the outcome isn't necessarily the wins. It's the progress you make in the turkeys, the X, Y, and the Z. Come up with a different definition of winning, right? Especially at that age than the actual win itself, because the wins will come.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
if we could put up 6 turkeys a game, it'd be no problem.
That's a win, right? Or X number of rebounds per game. Hey, that's a win, right? And I literally, the girls will, my team, they will say, Coach, how many rebounds we got? I'm like, we have, I forget what our goal, let's say it's 12, 15. And I'll say we have 12. And they're like, okay, let's go we got 3 more to get before the end of the game, right? And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, versus like they're not working towards anything other than the win otherwise.
Right. Yeah. I like that.
And then I say to them,
I think we got to start keeping stats.
Yeah, I keep stats. So we'll go through the 3 things. And then I said, this is a win for us, regardless of what the outcome is, if we can hit these 3. 1, it's maybe because we're struggling on these 3 areas a little bit. But they're all related to what I want to teach as a program, usually right around there. I don't know. I just kind of gamify it though, and make this win different than what it says in the scoreboard.
Right. Yeah, I like that. Especially as a team that didn't win a game last season.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And
that's
And it's, they may feel like, we didn't win a game last season, or we don't look that much better this season. And, are we going to get this win? And there's so much self-doubt, right? But if you can give them wins along the way, like for example, we played this team. It was we are 7th and 8th. This was a high school 9th grade team. Okay. We took them to double overtime? Overtime for sure. It was overtime, and we literally lost in a buzzer beater layup. Okay. And so, obviously heartbreaking, sad, but it was probably the best win we've had. That win was the best win we've had all season. Okay. So what I defined the win was, girls, you're 7th and 8th grade. You played a high school team. You took them to overtime. You lost by a last minute layup. The other thing that they did was and our girls have never seen it before. Thank goodness I did. It was a 1-2-2 half court trap. Okay. And we never practiced a half court 1-2-2 trap. And it was tenacious. And I said, okay, no problem. Timeout. This is how you beat a 1-2-2. They executed flawlessly. It was a very simple thing. I told them to do, because as you know, they're kids and they don't, if we didn't practice it, I call it volley. You're literally in a 1-2-2, you're literally throwing the ball back and forth from one person. Was 3 people. So 3 people, 1, 2, 3, back and forth until the defense makes a decision, and then you attack. And it created wide open layups for us in the defense. So
Okay.
they executed it perfectly. And I said, girls, that's a win. That's a huge win,
Yeah.
right? You took direction. You never practiced something before. You took a high school team to overtime. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd like the W on that one. But man, that was the best game you played all season. You should be proud of yourselves on what
Yeah.
you achieved in that game, right? So, again, if you define it only success by the wins and you never win like you did last year, then the kids get down, you get down, you feel like, coach, I've been there. You feel like, man, is it me? Right?
Yeah.
I wasted all of this time, right? Or it feels like I didn't teach them what they need and we didn't improve. But if you have milestones that you're looking at improvement, it'll change your mindset. It'll change the kid's mindset.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, I know I talked a lot about that, but is there any other specific questions or things that you might be struggling with?
Yeah, so I guess I got two things for you, and then so first is just a comment. Kind of would love your input on. So this is more the inter-coach dynamic. So it's funny, we were talking volleyball earlier. So I'm really a volleyball player more than a basketball player.
Okay.
I learned how to play basketball when I was 21. I was a senior in college, and I just like LeBron James went back to Cleveland. I went to Ohio State. I started playing pickup. Like I worked at the gym there. So I'd go and do 2 hours of like dribbling and shooting skills by myself in the morning.
Yeah.
And then play pickup from 6 until, basically when the second half of the Cavs started that night. So I think I'm very good at teaching the skills, right?
Okay.
I can teach. We had a problem last year. We had a kid who was jumping off the wrong foot on the layup. And when I was, not that long ago, I had the same issue. And I'm like, this is how I did it. And I'm like, so those things I honestly think our coaching staff is pretty good at doing. We can teach the skills in a way that resonates with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get now, it's like, so there's two things now. I think as a staff, we got to improve our own internal consistency. I wrote down about your vocab list. That's something we definitely, because we throw too much information. So actually I had a big fight with my head coach in like a friendly way, but about he's like, I don't know, we can't get to learn. I'm like, we're doing a bad job teaching. Maybe our kids are not all Einstein, but we have to change our methods until something works, or else it won't. We just have to keep. If we give up, then we should just find a different coach to take us. But so I guess my question is that was more of just an observation, I guess.
Yeah.
How would you implement? So we've been doing like this slow motion half court offense where there's no shooting and it's just, okay, pass. All right, now you cut. All right, you see this player cutting. Now you've got to slide over and replace and trying to get it into the flow of the offense without actually even shooting. We're just doing passing, cutting, dribble to the basket. Okay, kick it out. We're trying to get them to start to I guess, do you think that that's an effective way to teach them how to, the principles of motion offense? We've kind of tactically, head coach thinks we should run a triangle because our center is a liability. He just can't handle the ball. So he's like, oh, we should do a triangle. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go on YouTube and I'll learn about the triangle offense. But why don't we just do, pass and cut? I don't think these kids are going to do plays. We just need to do the principles of just okay, if you, make sure there's 2 on the weak side. And then if you cross over to the other block when the shooter's on the other side and, cut and replace and screen and all these principles that if we could just embed those principles, I think we'll have more success than trying to run a play. We tried a few last year and it just our execution was weak. And if anything happened, we would just totally fall apart.
Yeah. That again,
Saturday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Saturday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Saturday. Saturday, bring it on.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
It's again, you have a young team, you're doing a good job, it's going to happen, it's going to take time. So just, you're there for the kids, right? Okay, so just relax, right? It's going to happen. But a couple things. So definitely a walkthrough like that, and 5-0 and just going through the steps is really important so they get the feel of what you're trying to teach. Okay, then break it down into chunks, and maybe in your drills you already do that. So you could have two players, one passes to a player on you got player on the top, player in the wing, or the top player passes to the wing player that just passed, cuts, and maybe you do a give and go, and you're breaking it down into chunks, right? And then you add a third player. What does he do? Maybe they fill, and then next man up, right? So then you go maybe you go 2-on-0, maybe you go 2-on-1. So it's basically, you want to definitely create though small-sided games, and small-sided games means you could be going 2-on-2, and they're really quick sprints of one thing you're trying to teach them. Right now, in a motion offense, there's a few things, but focus on one per 5-minute segment. Otherwise, you're just going to blow the kids' heads up, and it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. I'm going to say I'm not the best at it either yet, but it's I really try to focus 5-minute segments. Okay, this segment, if I'm doing a motion offense, I'm just working on the cut after the pass. And there's a science behind it. Yeah. Take the person opposite, come towards the ball, make sure you cut in front of the defense. You could be the defense in this case, right? So you get a feel for it, right? And then, so break it. So big, right? 5-0, show them, and then break it all the way down into those 2-on-0, and then build it back up, where you end with a 5-on-5. And then you score not just how many points they're making but hey, they did a cut, that's a point, right? Defense stopped the cut, that's a point for defense. Hey, they did a pass and whatever, if it's screen away, that's one more point. Yeah. Right? Again, gamify it. Whatever you want to emphasize and whatever you want them to do in the game, give them points in practice. All right. And anyways, does that make sense? So big,
that does.
Break it all down, and then build it back up, piece by piece, layer by layer, right? Yeah. So that will definitely definitely help.
We're gonna gamify.
I'm gonna do what's that?
I said we're definitely gonna gamify practice. That's a big takeaway from this.
Kids, yeah. And then at the end, so what we do, and I love it. I created this, and you've heard it on the podcast before, this red dot framework. Okay. And it's an acronym for the three things, the game in the court that I believe in: rebounding, efficient scoring, and defense. If we can get those three things down, we're going to win a lot of games. Then the bigger game is the game in the head. So we talk about the dot is drive, open, together. Now, drive and open is a double meaning, right? Because it's drive and open in basketball. But this particular drive means energy and effort. Open means I'm coachable. Okay. And I'm open to, this is kind of the bonding part of the team as well, which is I'm open to my teammates helping me out. Okay. I'm open to, she's a little different than me, and that's okay. We're on a team together, right? Her skill level is better than mine or worse than mine, but you know what? We're on a team together, and she's my teammate. And then the last part is that together. Okay, so then what we do at the end of practice is peer-to-peer recognition. I will pick someone. Patrick, hey, you get to give the first red dot out today. And they get a physical red dot that they put on their water bottle. All right.
Okay.
So I give them, you see those, like you buy them at Staples, and they're just red dots that you use in the office. And so I give one to Patrick, you give one out to player X. Player X then gives out to player Y, and player Y gives out to player Z. So we give out 3 a night. Then let's say I give one to you. Say, Patrick, man, hey, on that defensive drill, man, you really boxed out and did a great job on rebounding. So it relates back to the red dot. Hey, Patrick, you were, I really appreciate you because you were really open when I was telling you how to do something so we can improve as a team, right? So everything kind of relates back to our framework and what we believe as a team.
Yeah.
So then the red dots, and then there's girls with red dots just on filled up on their water bottle, and they collect them and they get excited.
Yeah.
But it's not me giving them out, right? Unless there's a special occasion.
Right.
I make that more of a special occasion.
Okay.
Because they think it's a bigger deal then versus me always giving them out and then making it fair and then everybody gets one, and it's like, no. Right? It's their peers are recognizing someone who did a great job, right, in practice. And that way, again, that's that team togetherness and bonding that creates as well. And the physical, the red dot and that physical nature of Patrick, you're giving me a gift, right? I just gave you a compliment and a red dot. Right.
Yeah.
So if we make a big deal about the red dot, we do it in every practice. If I'm doing a clinic, we do, everybody gets on. If I'm doing a clinic, we get a board that has everybody's name on it. If I'm doing a 3-day clinic, right, and then I give out red dots, and their peers give out red dots, and they put them next to their name, right? So it's we make a big deal about this, right? Again, we want this, trying to create that team unity. So. Just something to think about there. Was that helpful?
That's extremely helpful. No, that's I think that's brilliant. I really like my number one takeaway is definitely figuring out the games within the game.
Yeah.
What make everything competitive. The red dot, that's not necessarily like one kid loses, one kid wins, but like that still creates the energy that we're going for. So
and the energy, I want a red dot. I didn't get one today, right? Man, I'm going to bring it tomorrow. Right. I want a red dot, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I do too, and again, remember, this is the same age you have, so I got 7th and 8th grade girls. Now, girls are a little bit more mature than boys at that age, right? I also coach an 8th grade boys team, and they're just crazy different. It's so funny. But the boys are much more athletic. But the girls also listen a lot better and are more coachable. Just a shout out to my boys team. I love you guys too. But I pick, I don't call them team captains, but it would be the equivalent of that. I call it my leadership team. And I handpick those girls in this case because I'm with them a lot longer too. It's not like you could do this. My other boys team is a rec team, and I only have one practice, 1 hour every week. And so we just don't have time to really do all of the stuff I would love to do. Anyway, so we have this leadership team and leadership council. We meet on a regular basis, and they get to make decisions about, what's the pregame warm up? Are we going to, girls say, we're going to braid our hair? Are we going to color our hair? Are we going to wear the black socks versus the white socks, whatever it is. What team bonding activities are we going to do? So they decide all of that kind of stuff. Or I'm doing some new sweatshirt designs, and I share it with them. Which ones would you wear? Right. So then they pick, and I'm like, okay, great. There it is. That's the one.
Yeah.
So,
I really like that. Yeah.
So I just empower them, but they're not necessarily captains where, they're going out for the jump ball and, that type of thing.
Sure.
Or to talk to the refs. That I might change, but I want to empower, and I rotate those kids from season to season. I want to empower them to step up to be leaders. So now what I've created is, let's say it's just, hey, I pull them aside, guys, we're, you know me, I love fun, but it's getting a little too much, right? We need to bring it back into balance. And so what they've done several times is they've had team meetings. These are 7th and 8th grade girls. They had team meetings 15 minutes before practice and say, hey guys, we got to get it together, right? This isn't fair for coach. We shouldn't have lost that game last week. It's because we didn't have very good practices this week. We need to do it better as a team. And and they, sometimes they go into, here are the 3 things we're going to focus on. Right.
Wow.
So that teaches them leadership skills as well. Right. And I coach them on that stuff too. Right. So it's, anyway,
right.
It's, and again, you could do that.
Do any of them have 8th grade cousins who live in New Jersey?
I've gotten, knock on wood, very lucky having some very amazing kids in the program, and but I've also cultivated that too. Right. And we attract a certain kid type as well, and if you're only, and this is why I go back to the wins. If that's all you think sports is about, and that's your, as a parent, you can say, oh yeah, my daughter was on this elite team and they went undefeated, but yet she has no social skills or understands the true meaning of sports and no team skills. Right. That's what you want, but that's not what sports is about. And that's what it shouldn't be about. It's, for me, the gym is a classroom. And I'm a teacher, right? I just happen to teach basketball, and then and show kids how to work together that are very different from one another, right? And how to overcome, some hurdles, how to talk to adults, right? If it's refs, is it me, right? If it's whatever else, right? So anyway, bigger approach than just the wins and losses.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Any other questions? I know we're kind of long on this podcast, but I think this is really good because these are the types of questions we get on a regular basis, and that's why I wanted to get you on here because I think other coaches are struggling with the same thing you are, and I know I have. I mean, I pull out my hair like, what else? Why aren't you learning the offense? I mean, I don't know how more simple it can be, right? It's like even sometimes it's like, okay, after you pass, you cut. That's it. That's all I want you to do this game. I just don't want you to stand still. But yet they still stand still. And I'm like, what am I missing? Like what part of pass and you cut to the basket, right?
Anyway. It's
I get it.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time. This is extremely helpful. I was really happy when you emailed me back. That's
good.
We will we're gonna have a coaches conference call this weekend and implement some changes for next week.
Awesome.
Gotta figure out what our version of the red dot is gonna be.
There you go. That's right. But again, you're doing a great job. Just love on the kids. They'll respond, change a few things within practice. And you'll be surprised how quickly those kids will dive on the floor for a loose ball, right? Or get that little bit of extra out of them in a game. So, but again, it does take time. And if, like you said, if they're a newer group to basketball, even though they're 7th and 8th grade, you just have to have patience and just relate the game to them and make sure you're talking the same language. That's one of my biggest takeaways this year is that, the language barrier, so to speak, right? That I've had between myself and the team this year, right? So,
I love it. No, I think I'm going to start working on a vocab list too. That's That's a great one. No, because I call the secret spot is the area on the baseline behind the basket,
Yeah.
kind of near the block, but within the paint.
Yeah.
I call that the secret spot. It's just the first time someone told me where that was, it's a secret spot. But like a kid could easily not know what the secret spot is. And even though I've explained it to him before, he forgets because it's a secret.
Of course. It's a secret, right? Yeah. We call that the gray zone. It's related to
I like
defense,
that.
but we call it the gray zone. We want to push people to the gray zone. It's more of the short corner. But it's like that. It's like, and there's 101 ways to teach the game. 101 ways. And I've just known that it's like some people like to pass and cut. Some people like to pass and screen away. Some like to pass and screen on ball. It's like, okay, all of those are right. It's whatever you want to do, right? Don't doubt yourself as long as, again, you're not being crazy and you're good with the kids and just keep on doing what you're doing. Be patient.
Appreciate it.
All right, Coach. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time. Coaches, I hope this was, thank you for sticking with us. If you'd lasted this long on the podcast, is Coach Patrick, I appreciate you sharing with us. Please, I'm going to have you back on at the end of the season and see how you did, see what you implemented, and see how things changed. So email me on your first win, okay?
I will. I hope you get that email this year.
Me too. But I want to know about what all your other wins, right? Besides the W column.
That's right. I like that.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time and good luck. All right. See you.
Good luck this season. You too. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.